In the headlines, President Buhari meets representatives of train attack victims. Soldiers killed by terrorists in Abuja buried amid tears. House of Representatives reject CBN FIRS representatives summon Emefiele, NAMI. And away from Nigeria, North Korea's leader Kim Jong-un declares victory over COVID-19. Hello and welcome to Trust News Update. I am Ayuba Ilya. Thank you for joining. And now the details. President Muhammadu Buhari has met with representatives of the victims of the Abuja-Kaduna train attack, promising that his administration will ensure that each person held in captivity is returned safely home. The president said the 31 victims left will be extracted from captivity safely, which is why government had not considered the military option to wipe out the terrorists. One of the representatives of the victims' families, Sabiu Muhammad, pleaded with the president to help rescue their relatives because they did not have the resources to pay ransom to free them. Minister of Transportation, Muazu Sambo, said the meeting between the president and the victims' families was a clear demonstration of his administration's determination to rescue them. Now, troops of Guards Brigade Nigerian Army who were killed by terrorists in Buari area of Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, were on Thursday buried amid tears. The leader of the soldiers, Captain Atta Samuel, and 4 other soldiers who paid the supreme price during a clearance operation were buried at the Guards Brigade Cemetery, Maitama, Abuja. Reading the funeral oration of the deceased personnel, the commanding officers of 7 Guards Battalion, Lieutenant Colonel Salim Yusuf Hassan, and commanding officer 176 Guards Battalion, Lieutenant Colonel Joshua Kolaole Adisa, described the late captain and soldiers as thoroughbred infantrymen. The Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Farouk Yahaya, who was represented by Major General James Alilu Ataguba, presented military paraphernalia to the next of kin of the deceased personnel, while the remains of the fallen heroes were lowered. Until their demise, the soldiers were serving with 7 Guards Battalion, Lungi Barracks, Maitama, and 176 Guards Battalion, Gwagwalada, in the FCT. Now, over 40 gunmen riding on motorcycles attacked Yankatako quarters in Katsina metropolis on Tuesday night. The gunmen, suspected to be armed robbers, took about 15 minutes shooting sporadically to scare residents of Yankatako. Abdullahi Yamadi visited the area and has an update.
There are increasing attacks on residences within the last few days in the ancient city of Katsina. At Yankatako quarters, the gunmen forced themselves into the house of one Alhaji Bigi and dispossessed his family of their belongings, including his car. Alhaji Bigi, who was lucky to have scaled his house fence to escape attack, however, sustained various degrees of injuries in the process. The attacks are rampant such that one can hardly comprehend what it really is. Is it robbery, terrorism, or what? Truly, I can understand security operatives are overwhelmed. Something needs to be done. When Trust Television News contacted his family for comment, they said the survivor was barred from seeing journalists for security and health issues. Meanwhile, Ibrahim Kabir, one of the 3 survivors of the Shola Quarters attack, also in Katsina metropolis, passed on at Federal Teaching Hospital, Katsina, Wednesday night. Kabir died from gunshot injuries he sustained during the Sunday's terrorist attack on Shola Quarters. The authorities are saying the increasing attacks on residences within the last few days in the ancient city of Katsina may not be the sign of change of modus of operandi by terrorists.
We must be telling the communities of security tips on the need to collaborate, on the need to come out and say things that you know. So many of us, we know so person was in the forest and he came back. We know so many of them, they are living above their means. How? Where do they get those money? How? Where? And we must ask, and what is happening?
Beyond the terrorist attacks and armed robbery cases, there is also an increase in motorcycles and car thefts within Katsina metropolis. I'm a victim because my car was stolen just 6 days ago. There are more than 101 cases of car and motorcycle thefts on record in Katsina, especially in Katsina metropolis. We're in trouble. The deteriorating insecurity is largely attributed to poverty, high cost of living, and proliferation of drugs and its abusers. Abdullahi Ismayamadi, Trust Television News, Katsina.
Youth from Shola Quarters and Nasenta village near Army Barracks in Katsina metropolis on Thursday marched through some parts of the capital, protesting incessant terror attacks in various parts of Katsina metropolis. They accused security agencies of remaining helpless and unable to tame the bandits. Reacting to the incessant attacks by bandits in parts of Katsina State, Deputy Speaker Shehu Dalhatu Tafoki called on relevant security agencies to sit up and do their work by taking the fight to the bandits' hideout. He lamented terrorists have taken over every part of the state. The Katsina House of Assembly has resolved to meet Governor Aminu Masari and President Muhammadu Buhari over the worsening insecurity in the state. Still on security matters, bandits have attacked Yakawada village in Giwa local government area of Kaduna State and abducted the daughter-in-law of the convener Northern Elders Forum, Professor Ango Abdullahi, and other villagers. This comes barely a month after Sadiq, one of the sons of Abdullahi, who was kidnapped among the train passengers on March 28, 2022, was released after spending several weeks in the kidnappers' den. While confirming the abduction of his daughter-in-law to journalists in Zaria on Wednesday, Professor Abdullahi said 4 of the victims' children were also abducted. Kaduna State Police Public Relations Officer, DSP Muhammad Jalige, said he is yet to be briefed of the attack but promised to contact the police division covering the area for details of the incident. The Nigerian Air Force has neutralized a terrorist leader, Alhaji Shanunu, following an operation in Kaduna State. NAV's Director of Public Relations and Information, Air Commodore Edward Gabwet, said this in a statement issued on Wednesday after the Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Oladayo Amao's visit to the state. In other strikes in the northeast region, NAV said one of such operations was conducted on 6th of August 2022 at Gazwa, about 1.2 kilometers to Garagash, after intelligence revealed that infighting for relevance and supremacy was underway between terrorists of the Shekau faction and terrorists aligned to Islamic State of West Africa, ISWAP. The state of confusion and disorder among the two terrorist factions thus presented an opportunity for a surprise attack by NAF pilots, which was carried out using 2 aircraft types. The NAF spokesman quoted the Chief of Air Staff as calling on the commanders to stay focused. Former Accountant General of the Federation Ahmed Idris and the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission have differed on a proposed plea bargain option in the alleged 109.4 billion naira fraud. Idris was arraigned alongside Godfrey Olusegun Akindele, the technical assistant to the Accountant General of the Federation, Mohammed Kudu Usman, and Gezawa Commodity Market and Exchange Limited. The defendants, however, pleaded not guilty to the charges of conspiracy, criminal breach of trust, bribery, and money laundering. At the hearing on Wednesday, Prosecution Counsel Rotimi Jacobs said third parties had approached the commission to negotiate the option instead of a full trial. However, Defense Counsel Godi Uche He insisted that an invitation was extended to his client for the negotiation without his knowledge. Kano State House of Assembly has assured that it will immediately pass the local government autonomy bill into law. At a two-day interactive session on constitution amendment, Speaker of the State Assembly, Hamisu Chidari, said a committee has been set up to fast-track the process. Idris Jibrin reports that the event seeks to deliberate on the 5th constitution alteration bills. Here's the report.
These members of the Kano State House of Assembly are here to deliberate an overview of the 5th Constitution alteration bills, its rationale and implications for governance and the socio-economic development of Nigeria, particularly on local government autonomy bill.
As legislators, I wish to reiterate our commitment and resolve in taking the right decision while considering the alteration for concurrence with the National Assembly. In doing so, a committee was set up under the leadership of the Deputy Speaker with the mandate to study and report back to the Honorable House.
According to these lawmakers in Kano, they are to reflect on the 5th alteration bills with a view to deepening their understanding of the provisions of the bills, the underlying principles and purpose to effectively build consensus around the bills.
There are several agitations, especially on the areas of resource control, the police, state police, the issue of state electoral commissions, the local government autonomy, women participation in politics or in the governance, several issues. So really, I expect to be clear regarding the autonomy of independence of legislatures.
Although Kano State is yet to be among the 8 states that so far passed the local government autonomy bill into law, but expert believes that the interactive session will help the lawmakers to take informed decisions during their considerations.
What we expect is, 1, the State House of Assembly will be autonomous in terms of finances and in terms of administration. 2, the local government autonomy will be rectified. Other provisions that are quite relevant, particularly that pertains the improvement in the welfare of citizens and strengthening good governance, I'm sure the Kano State House of Assembly, after this session, will pass for that bill.
At the end of this session, it is expected that the lawmakers in Kano will come up with resolutions toward achieving local government autonomy as contained in the 5th alteration bills. Idris Jibrin, Trust TV News, Kano.
You're watching the news update on Trust Television. Coming up shortly, we'll take a look at cattle dealers lament slow recovery 10 years after attack. Details of this and more after the break.
As the 2023 elections draw near, remember, evil prospers when good men and women only wish for peace, but never take a step to make peaceful elections happen. Are you a father? Are you a mother? What are you saying to your children as elections approach? Have you warned them not to let themselves be used to cause violence? Have you explained to them what the consequences of electoral violence might be? Do your part to make peaceful elections happen. Talk to your children. Protect them from unscrupulous politicians who want to put them in harm's way, while their own children are comfortable at home, within and outside the country. Let's join hands to make 2023 elections peaceful. This message is from the National Orientation Agency, NOAA.
Thanks for staying. Let's have a look at the top stories again. President Muhammadu Buhari meets representatives of train attack victims. Soldiers killed by terrorists in Abuja buried amid tears. And in other news, policymakers in the energy, oil and gas sector have been encouraged to create and implement strategies for the marginalized women group in the sector to thrive. The call was made during an advocacy and communication capacity building to ensure the challenges women in the sector face are addressed through a project advancing women in economic development. The report.
Despite the invaluable contributions of the energy, oil and gas sector to the country's economy, experts say harnessing capacities of all parties involved is lacking. Hence, the need for deliberate inclusion of women in the sector to unlock the potentials therein.
Stimulate our women, the members of women in energy, oil and gas, to start thinking of possibilities, to start thinking of ways we can close the energy gaps, both the gender gap, the energy poverty gap, and the transformational effects of Nigeria hosting that vast resource of energy in the country. So it is not just a gender thing, it's a total, if I may use the word, reformation that cuts across the energy industry.
The industry, from leadership roles in major corporations to jobs in mines and on oil rigs, remains male-dominated, even with the invention of technology. This and more are some of the areas the advocacy and communication capacity building seeks to address in order to guarantee the economic empowerment of women.
Shortfall of the presence of women in the oil and gas sector across board, in terms of leadership, even in terms of participation, in terms of access. Women presence has still not yet been felt 4 decades after the establishment of the oil find in Nigeria. So this group is very timely because they are dealing with issues related to environment, oil and gas mining, and how that affects women and also even the communities where these mining activities do take place.
Only a few women there occupy leadership position. Train these women for them to have better skills, because they have been doing something. But we want them to acquire better skills in order to be more proficient in advocacy.
Demystifying the myth that women would not succeed in the industry, stakeholders believe will help encourage others to go into the sector, as the exploits of women hold brighter prospects for the sector and invariably the economy. Aisha Salihu, Trust TV News, Abuja.
10 years after the deadly attack at the Potiskum International Cattle Market, dealers say that the market is yet to fully recover from the aftermath of the attack. The cattle market was brought to its knee in May 2012 after some gunmen armed with explosives attacked and killed dozens, including cattle. As they strive to rebuild their businesses, cattle dealers say lack of infrastructure in the market is impeding their progress. Ibrahim Ismail reports.
Located along Maiduguri Road in the city of Potiskum, the Potiskum International Cattle Market is one of the largest in West Africa. A section of the cattle dealers who spoke to Trust TV say, although the market is gradually taking shape, lack of an access road remains a major challenge to their business. Others blame the slow recovery on the fact that foreign customers no longer visit the market like they did prior to the attack.
The problem is lack of access roads. We have to stop trucks at the western roads and pay herders to bring the cattle here. If a cattle runs away, we pay more than 10,000 before they catch it because of the dilapidated roads. The cattle market has recovered more and developed better than it was before. It is peaceful and you can't hear news of any incident. There is better security. If you observe, you will understand that our condition at the Potiskum cattle market is pathetic.
Other business owners decried the poor condition of the market.
I am affected because it is only when the visitors come that I will sell my drugs. The visitors are not coming anymore because of the poor condition.
Union leaders at the Potiskum International Cattle Market said poor infrastructure is discouraging foreign dealers from patronizing the market.
No intervention from either local or state government. The market is dilapidated. Our people pay tax. Vehicles and people can't access the market freely. This is the problem here. But this market is one of the largest in Africa.
My Potiskum, Alhaji Umar Bubaram speaks on the significance of the Potiskum International Cattle Market as he calls for support from governments at all levels.
The Potiskum Cattle Market is an international renowned cattle market in West Africa. People from Chad, people from Central African Republic, Cameroon, they sent herds of cattle the Potiskum Cattle Market. Therefore, it will be appreciated if the proposed international abattoir proposed for Potiskum and improvement of the ranch at the cattle market will be hastened so that the market community will be encouraged.
The Potiskum International Cattle Market operates twice a week because of its business potentials. If upgraded, it will help boost the revenue of Yobe State. Ibrahim Ismail reporting for Trust TV.
The House of Representatives Ad Hoc Committee on Subsidy on Thursday rejected representations from the Central Bank of Nigeria and the Federal Inland Revenue Service at the ongoing public hearing at the National Assembly in Abuja. The committee members insisted on the appearance of the two heads that they considered very critical to unravel the petroleum product subsidy in the ongoing investigation. Although both representatives tried to make a case for their various organizations, the committee insisted through a voice vote ruling that the heads of the organizations must appear in person. The Federal Inland Revenue Service boss, Muhammad Mamanami, is to appear on the 18th of August, while a date for the appearance of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele, is expected to be communicated to him soon.
Whatever you say here, what is honorable committee is binding on him, then we'll take it. So to get the letter and appear, or let the chairman appear. Come with the chairman. You understand? So that in our presence, we don't even need any letter. He will physically assign whoever will carry forward. You understand? Will carry on where he stops.
With respect to the issues of document, the truth of the matter is that some of these documents are actually voluminous, and we cannot be able to print most of those documents. For example, in one of your requests, you ask us to produce all the accounts of NNPC that are domiciled in the Central Bank. NNPC has over close to 200 accounts, and they are voluminous account, and the age of the
chairman. So you are a personal staff of the chairman. Yeah, hold on. Somebody is doing your work now. Has that your position been scrapped? So why is that person that the government, okay, maybe you are still being paid by the government, maybe from his contingency. Yeah. So the person that was doing your job, unless the person is not competent to come here before the committee, but in any case, the chairman maybe is going to rule that the chairman of FRS must appear before us. So if he decides to come with you, no problem, but for you to come, and also no submissions. So what are you going to be saying? Are you going to be speaking from the top of your head? You must bring documents that you will speak to.
And away from Nigeria, North Korean leader Kim Jong-un has declared victory in the battle against the novel coronavirus and ordered a lifting of maximum anti-epidemic measures imposed in May, state media said on Thursday. North Korea has not revealed how many confirmed infections of the virus it has found, but since the July 29, it has reported no new suspected cases, with what international aid organizations say are limited testing capabilities. While lifting the maximum anti-pandemic measures, Kim said that North Korea must maintain a still strong anti-epidemic barrier and intensify anti-epidemic work until the end of the global health crisis. North Korea's official death rate of 74 people is an unprecedented miracle compared to other countries, KCNA reported. Citing another official, the World Health Organization has cast doubts on North Korea's claims, saying last month it believed the situation was getting worse, not better, amid an absence of independent data. Now, satellite pictures released on Thursday showed devastation at a Russian airbase in Crimea, hit in an attack that suggested Kyiv may have obtained new long-range strike capability with the potential to change the course of the war. Pictures released by independent satellite firm Planet Labs showed 3 near-identical craters where buildings at the Russia's Saki airbase had been struck with apparent precision. Russia has denied aircraft were damaged and said explosions seen at the base on Tuesday were accidental. Ukraine has not publicly claimed responsibility for the attack or said exactly how it was carried out. And in sports news, the first stop on Serena Williams' farewell tour came to a quick end as she fell 6-2, 6-4 to Belinda Bencic in second-round action at the Canadian Open on Wednesday, a day after announcing her forthcoming retirement from tennis. Williams arrived on the court to a standing ovation and had the full support of the capacity crowd throughout the 77-minute match, but was unable to conjure up the old magic that helped her lift 3 titles in Canada. After the match, Williams was presented with team jerseys of Toronto's NBA and NHL teams for her and her daughter, who was in attendance, as well as a bouquet of flowers that she carried off the court while wiping back tears. Prior to the match, a tribute video was played featuring comments from tennis pioneer Billie Jean King, current players like Coco Gauff and Emma Raducanu, as well as ice hockey great Wayne Gretzky, and highlights of Williams' Canadian triumphs. The highly anticipated match was played a day after 23-time Grand Slam champion Williams revealed in a Vogue article that she was evolving away from tennis and plans to retire from the sport she has dominated for over 2 decades. And that's a wrap on Trust News Update. Watch more via all our social media platforms, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. I am Ayuba Ilya. Thank you for watching.